All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this podcast by FiberWizards. My name is Jerry Morla, founder of FiberWizards. I'm also a master instructor with the FOA. You want to learn more about my profile, just check it on LinkedIn. Today, we have a very special guest, Blake Urmos, founder of LVN. We have a very special relationship because he was the first CFOT produced by the latest iteration of the FiberWizards. And he's been, one of our strongest supporters and contributors to content development. So I'm very excited to have him here and looking forward to this chat. So welcome, Blake. How you doing?
I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Jerry.
That's awesome. So it's been a while since we've done this, right? So what's going on? What's going on in the LVN world? Can you tell us a little bit, for the audience that have never met you or heard about LVN? Can you share a little bit about LVN?
Yeah, well, first off, Jerry, you've been killing it on LinkedIn. That is like your platform. Like all the stuff you've been doing with FiberWizards, like congratulations. That's awesome.
Thanks, man. I learned from you. I learned a lot from you. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm kind of because I've been kind of silent, not silent, but I've been posting like once or twice a week. And every time I open it up, I see your stuff. I'm like, dang, like I need to get back on there because you're killing it, man.
I try to at least once a day, right? If we can capture something, food for thought or whatever, and just share it out there.
Yeah, there's so much going on with the fiber world. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but yeah, it's like there's just so much going on right now. So
absolutely. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So yeah,
and likewise, we're gonna be asking you a few questions, so you tell us a little bit about all that's going on in your social media channels and all that.
So Low Voltage Nation, our Facebook group it's taken over our Slack workspace, kind of like got sunsetted by Discord. So we have a Discord server now, but the Facebook group, we're up to almost 50,000 members. Wow. And they're extremely active. I think it's something like 39,000 of them have posted or commented or reacted to a post, but it's a lot of like questions about copper stuff. And there's a lot of memes, a lot of like bullshit, but like oh, sorry. Can I cuss in your podcast?
That's all right. We do it all the time in the field. So
yeah. But the Low Voltage Nation Facebook group that's just taken over. So what I'm trying to do is get everybody from the Facebook group, which is like the 35 and up kind of demographic. Like it's kind of like my age. It's a lot of people that have been in the field for over a decade, and then a lot of business owners. And trying to get them into Discord, which is a little bit more of a younger crowd. It's like the TikTok crowd. Okay. So I dusted off the TikTok account. I was hoping it would get banned. I was just kind of like, I kind of left it sitting. I was like, all right, they're going to ban TikTok. So I kind of ignored it for a little bit, but I'm back on TikTok, trying to get people in the Discord server. And that's a lot more interactive, but it's just so hard to compete with the Low Voltage Nation Facebook group. It's the biggest copper low voltage community on the internet. It has to be. I mean, it's the most active, at least from what I've seen.
How do you do it? I mean, how do you crack the code? I haven't been able to. I still haven't even figured out Facebook. I spent, as you mentioned, a lot of time on LinkedIn. What's the magic?
So with the Facebook group, it was kind of like an afterthought because we were in Slack. We used Slack for a while, and we started on Instagram. So LVN started on Instagram, where I was reaching out to technicians that were in the field. They were doing really good work, and then I got them on the podcast. So that was like the genesis of LVN. And then we started the Slack workspace, and I just happened to start a Facebook group. And like it just kind of slowly. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. I think we got some viral post or something, but just over time, over the course of almost 3 to 4 years, it just kept growing and growing. Like I can't explain it.
What was the tipping point? I mean, what cost it? Do you know?
I don't know. There's 7 or 8 moderators. I have to pay somebody, so I pay somebody to approve comments. So we have to approve all the comments. So maybe that's kind of the secret sauce, is really making it a kind of safe place to hang out. I mean, it is like a job site. I kind of keep it a certain level of like people can kind of roast people here and there, but we get rid of spam. We don't approve like fake accounts. You have to have an account that's been active for more than a month. So we heavily moderate it, and we have to approve every single comment and every single person. And we don't let pages in there, and we don't let people post links in there.
Okay.
So I think the moderation aspect is really kind of the secret sauce, if you will.
Oh, excellent, excellent. You say you have somebody that's dedicated to policing up and moderating and everything?
Yeah, so we have like volunteers. We have like 7 volunteers. They do it here and there, but it's mostly me, and then we pay somebody to do that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, yep.
But you guys have another community page also, right? The Circle page. Can you tell us a little bit more about? I mean, I've logged in a few times. I posted a few times, but I really haven't gone deep into it to figure out everything that you got going on there. Can you tell us
So if LinkedIn and Slack had a baby, that's what Circle would be. So it's like it's a closed community. It's more of like a social media kind of feed, but there's a public facing part of it, which is better than Slack and better than Discord, because people from the outside can see what you have going on in the community, but there's also a paywall in front of the locked and like the premium content. So that is kind of like the asynchronous public facing component to it, and then Discord is the real-time chat, is the closed community real-time chat. So what I like about Circle is that people can see it from the outside. There's a paywall, and then let's say if an LVN Gold vendor, so let's say a vendor, manufacturer, supplier that pays to be part of the community and promote through the community, they get their own profile. They get to post stuff and promote it, and that gets blasted out to our email list. So it's a way for them to drop any content into Circle, into the platform, and then that signals myself and our team to push that out to social media, the newsletter, as well as to our social channels.
That's interesting. I haven't picked up on that trick yet. I'm going to take another look at it.
Yeah. So if you post in there like that, so we've actually revamped the whole LVN Gold vendor model, and I've trained up a team on how to monitor it, how to do like vendor spotlights and publish that out to the different social channels. So there's a whole process now to publish that stuff and then get it sent out.
Tell me more about the Gold Vendor program. I know I'm part of it, and our logo is in there, but we're also so busy trying to get our stuff off the ground, that I really haven't had a lot of time to deep dive into it. Can you?
So the relaunching of it was about 3 weeks ago, and that includes Discord. So vendors have a specific channel where they can promote their stuff in Discord, and the Discord is a lot more active than Slack. It's a better community platform. It lends to more like kind of water cooler kind of talks, but also specific verticals like structured cabling, access control than the vendor channel. So vendors get access to Discord and they can post in there. And then they get the newsletter. So the newsletter is on volume 17, I think. So we've been doing it for 17 weeks. We have an open rate of about 30%, which is pretty good for the industry. So we scrape all of the news for structured cabling, fiber, events, our social channels, and then some spotlight stuff, so that we put that into a weekly newsletter. So vendors will have access to get pushed out to that. And then they also get reshares and then the Facebook group. So since the Facebook group is so big, you can pin. So if you want to pin to the top, like a promotion or like an event or whatever you want, you communicate that to our team, and then we pin that to the top for a certain amount of time.
That's interesting.
So it's those 4 things. Those 4 things are part of the offer stack for the LVN Gold vendor program.
That's very interesting. I'm gonna take another look.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you're on the program. You got the logo on the Facebook banner. So
I know. Yeah, thanks.
Get in there. Yeah.
So, what is your interaction like with fiber vendors? Right, with vendors from the more specific fiber optic community?
Yeah, so we deal with some fiber. UCL Swift, I've been working with them a little bit. They actually have. You've seen their all-in-one splicers. It's kind of more. Yeah, it's kind of geared more towards, well, at least what they're positioning is give it to somebody that has never done fiber before and see if they can do it after watching a YouTube video. That's like one of the tasks that they set me up with recently. So I deal with UCL Swift. And then what I'm really seeing is, I call it being fiber curious, because it's mostly copper people in LVN. But we run into fiber so much, it's becoming more prevalent. And, we do a lot of inside plant stuff mostly, but people kind of delve into the OSP stuff here and there, and they see all of the activity. Like on social media, people will be splicing fiber. There's a ton of like influencers that have like huge accounts, and like people are like, oh wow, fiber. And we know that you can make a lot of money doing it and splicing fiber. So there's a lot of like curiosity around it. In terms of vendors, I don't deal with a lot. Some tool manufacturers like Jonar, they're pretty big into it. But for the most part, like the only fusion splicer company that I work with is UCL Swift within the community.
Okay. How about cable vendors? Do you have any cable vendors supporting
CommScope sent me an enclosure that I messed around with, and that was about it. So I've been working with CommScope here and there, but that was about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
But not necessarily. I mean, the most that I've done is with you when you certified me through FOA. So that was my experience with it. But in the community, there's just not a lot of chatter, but there's I can kind of see that uptick of curiosity.
Interesting. How about with all the news about all this broadband money for closing the digital divide, the $40 billion a couple of days ago and all this, do you hear any of the, perhaps the contractors talking about it, that they want to jump into fiber or anything like that?
Yeah, well, I've seen the chatter. I think it was just a few days ago they passed that infrastructure bill, wasn't it? I think I saw you post about it. Lee posted about it. It was all over LinkedIn. I'm excited about it because I think it's going to have a huge trickle-down effect for people that are training and then people that are installing the stuff. But in my world, see, I'm more my 9-to-5 job as a sales director for access control. It's all copper stuff. We don't hardly do any fiber stuff. So like the people that I talk to most of the day, Monday through Friday, they don't even care about it. So but I see a lot of chatter within the LinkedIn community talking about it. It's exciting for sure.
Hey, tell me something. Now that you mentioned that, in the access control world, do you see any fiber like gaining ground on access control systems? Not unlike the big enterprise ones, but like smaller premises, if you will.
I have not seen anybody connect an access control system with fiber.
Okay.
The backbone, a lot of the backbone stuff is fiber, but in terms of like hooking up a strike or a motion detector or a mag lock, it's all copper wire. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I think we're safe for at least a decade on that one.
Back in the day, I did fiber cabling for cameras, access controls in large industrial facilities, thermoelectrical plants, and things like that, right? Where noise and the climate was an issue. So for me, it's not unknown, right? But yeah. I always wonder, how about 10, 15 years later, has it gained any ground?
So. Yeah. But was that like to the door hardware? Like when you're attaching like a card reader, a motion detector?
No, actually, basically it was just replacing coaxial, right? With fiber, with multiple fiber, but you still had a media converter, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I see that here and there, of course. Yeah.
Tell me something. How does LBN support technicians? There's a lot of talk about the huge labor gap in the industry, about young people, right, not wanting to join telecommunications. I'm good at low voltage in there. How does LVN tackle that, right? I know you're a lot about inspiring the younger generation. Can you tell us more a little bit about it?
Yeah, I just try to scare the shit out of them and say, don't go to college and get a degree that's going to be automated by artificial intelligence in 5 years and go into the trades instead and make more money. So I try to explain to them that you can go to work and make a ton of money within 4 years instead of going to college, and that college degree will probably be useless. So that's how I kind of get people excited. In terms of LVN helping people, if you go into like the Facebook group, it's just people asking questions. And if somebody ask a dumb question or like a newbie question, they'll be the assholes they'll jump on you. Why are you asking that question? But for the most part, like the whole group will help them get up to speed, like what tools they need, what hardware they need, how do you do this? How do you run the conduit? How do you, terminate that cable? So we're constantly there's just hundreds of posts a day just within the Facebook group helping people. And that's the culture. Yes, it's like being on a job site and getting roasted, like I said, but at the same time, like the whole culture is to help people. That's the whole point.
Excellent. Yeah, I haven't been as active in the community lately, but last year when I was more active, one of the benefits that I gained from joining the community was getting to network, right? I got to meet people from other companies, even technicians and all that, and collaboration opportunities in projects and presentations even.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's one of the pluses, right? The added value that LVN delivers.
Yeah, and we know a ton of training organizations. We work with FiberWizards, obviously. There's other companies that we work with as well, and we try to get them hooked up. We'll host events too, like lunch and learns and like full day training events. So it's always geared towards, for the most part, the technician. We like to bring everybody together, but the whole point is to get people excited about it because there's such a huge labor shortage. Like we got to do something about it.
Enthusiasm is contagious.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got to bring it.
Yeah. Tell me something, now I think about it, when you took the CFOT training, prep training, that group was mostly oriented to cell towers, right? And mobile communications and all that. How do you see the overlap in skills? Did you what was your impression, your perception while you were there?
Yeah. So they didn't seem to have a lot. They didn't seem to encounter a lot of fiber. It seemed like they weren't they more on the copper side, or what was the whole purpose of us getting them trained up for that?
Well, actually, pretty much all they do is fiber.
Okay.
But they connect the antennas, right? Equipment in the antennas and backhaul and all that. They do it with fiber.
Okay, but were they splicing like in the field? Was that like a big part of their job, or what was it supposed to be?
So that group, right, per se, they work more with the equipment, with the aggregation equipment at the box, the bottom of the cell tower, connecting the equipment and all that. So maybe they splice the fiber coming into the cell site, but that's about it.
Gotcha.
They weren't big into splicing. They were more about connecting, right? Connectivity, connectors, maybe changing a pigtail, things like that, which is why they had to know splicing, but not out there, doing backbone stuff. Hey, how about training in the training area? What do you hear from the LVN community techs? Do they talk a lot? I mean, are they really interested on getting structured training, going to training programs and getting certified? What do you hear about them?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag. It's a 50-50. Whenever somebody poses the question, what about Bixby or what about FOA? People are like, oh, you don't need that. Just get on the job training. And then so here's my take on it is that getting training is important, like knowing like the why and the how, and then doing stuff like what we did at your training program, doing the hands-on stuff, like actual hands-on. So when you have those skills and the knowledge of like how everything works, you know how to do it right when you get in the field. But if you go straight into on the job training, and the lead technician or your trainer like doesn't know how to train or doesn't want to train or trains you on the wrong thing, like then the cycle continues. And it's why we see so much crap out in the field. We see the spaghetti cables, the closets, the zip ties, there's just shit everywhere. It's like most of the data closets in small to medium-sized businesses, and even like some of the bigger installations, they look terrible. They're not done properly. And I think a lot of it's a training issue. So that's my take on it. But overall in the community, we'll get a 50-50 kind of split of yes, you need training. A lot of jobs require like an RCDD or some sort of certification to do this, that, or the other, or get a vendor certification. You need that to install certain equipment. So I think it's very important, but the community is kind of split on it.
Yeah. And I hear a lot of, I get a lot of pushback from technicians, right? They want to get certified, but they don't want to study. They don't want to read. All they want to do is hands-on stuff, the fun stuff, engaging stuff, right? You almost have to go and play games to keep everybody engaged and happy. But the truth is that the theory is probably just as, if not more important sometimes, right, than the hands-on aspect of it. Number one, because it helps you communicate correctly. Right? You have a field technician, right, reporting back a value from the power meter, and they don't know the difference between dB and dBm. They're going to be backfeeding the wrong information and throwing off the people at the NOC, at the Network Operations Center. So knowing the theory helps you get the concepts to better communicate, articulate, to understand literature, right? And to know the standards. So I always tell people, aim to exceed the standard, right? It's a mindset thing. But nevertheless, you got to know the standard. That way you know that you have met, right, the criteria for the job to be completed as expected, right? If you don't have those fundamentals, you're likely not going to do well understanding the technical requirements for the job. And therefore, I wouldn't want you in my job, right? So it's very important to have that theory down and spend a little bit of time, right? It's nobody likes it. I know everybody wants to be doing the splices and all that stuff, but it's just very important. Every once in a while we got to sit down and read a little bit. So
yeah, the reason I started LVN was because I got terrible on the job training. I wanted to reach out to people that I thought were doing a great job. They were posting pictures. They looked good. It was labeled, documented. They took some pride in their work, and I didn't get that in the field.
Yeah.
So it was my mentorship. I created my own mentorship and training program, basically.
The pride in the job, right, is so important. I remember I led a training program years ago, and after months of working with the folks and everything, and basically at the end of the program, we've been so successful. Everything was so positive. The people were motivated, pumped up, and we started asking participants, right, what did we do right, what went well, so we could do more of that. And one of them stood up and said, on the first day, you taught us that we could be proud of our jobs, that we could look at our jobs as an art and get better at it and improve and share our art with others. And somehow that inspired them. That just, changed the chip or something, and it just changed the whole outcome of the program. So we gotta be, we gotta have passion and pride in our craft, right, in our work. So
yeah, indeed. So what's next on your like agenda for FiberWizards? You got anything in the pipeline? Any new training events?
Actually, I do. Very shortly, we're going to be unveiling the phase 2 of our strategy. I'm not going to reveal it here, but I think we're going to have a surprise for a lot of folks out in the field.
Yeah.
FiberWizards is not about training. We're not just another training school. We're about creating more FiberWizards, right? Yeah. And FiberWizards are leaders that are passionate, that are proud of their work, and that want to pass on and mentor others, right? To cultivate that excellence in the industry. So it's going to have a lot to do with that. I'm not going to share the details, but I think it's going to be very meaningful and exciting for a lot of folks. I already got calls, discussions with people here in the U.S. and in other countries, in Australia, in Peru, in Puerto Rico. So I think it's going to be pretty cool. So stay tuned.
Yeah. What was that one guy's name? He was so excited. He wanted to be a FiberWizard. There was a guy at the training program that I went to. What was his name? Like Colby or something?
Brandon?
Was it Brandon? Yeah, he was so pumped up. See, that's what I love to see. Like he got me fired up because he wanted to be a FiberWizard.
Yeah. For us, it's more about the shirt, We want to put on the shirt, right? Yeah. And we want to live, right, the whole vision of being FiberWizards and helping others and leading others and doing good and just doing something meaningful, connecting with purpose, connecting people, right? So we better start wrapping it up. Blake, thank you so much for carving out time, giving us this time. It was pretty fun doing this. You have any closing thoughts you want to share?
LVN is rocking and rolling with the Discord channel. I want people to get in there. That's all I want to do right now. That's a big focus. And then the vendor program as well. So that's the main thing we're focusing on is the vendor program, and then getting people in the Discord and connecting the vendors with the technicians. So go to join.lowvoltagenation.com if you want to join up. So
I was going to ask you, send me a link after the call.
Yeah. So that'll send you straight to the Discord. I switched it I did a redirect straight to the Discord. So go to join.lowvoltagenation.com, straight to Discord.
Perfect. I'm gonna make sure that I go there right after the call. So once again, look, Blake, thank you. I look forward to more of our collaboration in both LVN and FiberWizards, and continuing trying to share a little bit of the knowledge of our lessons learned and experiences with the new generation. So let's continue building. Okay. So thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.